According to research, up to 10% of Americans are thought to be afraid of the number 13. The even more specific fear of Friday the 13th, known as Triskaidekaphobia, is estimated to cost the US economy more than $800 million annually because it prevents people from getting married, traveling, or in the worst cases, even working. Hello, and welcome to our channel. In this video, we'll be discussing what's so unlucky about the number 13, and how did this numerical superstition get started. So, let's get started with the video. Although they are unable to identify a single incident that started the superstition surrounding the number 13, historians believe that it started in the 17th century. But the number 13 didn't become notorious until the 20th century, propelled perhaps not surprisingly by a piece of fiction. Businessman and author Thomas Lawson wrote a book named Friday the 13th in 1907 that told the story of a rogue broker who picked that day to crash the stock market. The idea of the unlucky number 13 then gained popularity, and in 1910 a pioneering psychologist invented the term Triskaidekaphobia, which means fear of the number 13, furthering the superstition. Throughout the 20th century, the legend surrounding the number's unlucky qualities continued to spread, and in 1980, the horror movie Friday the 13th cemented the number's association with Friday and its place in the popular imagination. According to CNBC, businesses lose hundreds of millions of dollars on Friday the 13th due to people not traveling, shopping, or scheduling significant events. Although no one is entirely sure why the number 13 has such a negative reputation, various compelling hypotheses have been put out through the years about why the number is so frightening. Since ancient times, people have believed the number 13 is to be unlucky, but why? Why is a number associated with so much superstition and significance? Numerous buildings lack a 13th level or 13th room. Due to their fear of accidents, some people even go so far to avoid traveling on the 13th day or having significant events on this day. There are several justifications for why people think the number 13 is unlucky, ranging from religious to scientific. Extremely religious people might relate the number 13 to the 13th guest at the Last Supper. Judas was the 13th person and the one who opposed Jesus. Many scholars contend that although the number 13 is not inherently unlucky, it does have an unfavorable place in the series. You can't beat the number 12 in either conventional, mathematics, or occult numerology. It is the only positive integer regarded as a sublime number, and it is perfect in terms of its numerical and symbolic meaning. To put it simply, 12 is a hard act to follow. In daily life, the number 12 is significant in many ways. 12 months in a year, 12 hours in half a day, 12 inches in a foot, 12 days of Christmas, and so on. It seems natural that 13 feels weird, unbalanced, and imperfect as it comes after the mystical number 12 in the sequence. The occurrence of 13 is unexpected and undesirable since many measurement methods end at 12, because it draws attention to flaws and abstraction. Our ancient ancestors who relied on natural order instinctively hated this figure. The number 13 is the imperfect number that falls behind the perfect number. A Friday is referred to as Friday the 13th or Black Friday if it occurs on the 13th day of the month. Some believe that this day is unlucky. At Jesus Christ's Last Supper, there were 13 guests. One of the guests at the meal, Judas, betrayed Jesus, which resulted in his execution by crucifixion. Some individuals think that Friday was also the day that Jesus was crucified. Additionally, between August 12th and 13th, 1961, around 15,000 members of the German Democratic Republic's (GDR) military forces blocked the rails and roads leading to Berlin's western districts. It started erecting barbed wire and fencing around West Berlin. The construction of the Berlin Wall, dividing the city's eastern and western sides, represents the split between Germany and Europe. Another theory indicates that Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden on Friday the 13th. Our forefathers, Adam and Eve, are described in the Old Testament. Before the serpent, the devil, tempted them to eat the forbidden fruit, the apple from the tree of knowledge. They lived in paradise in complete innocence. God exiled them from paradise as punishment for their disobedience. Many Christians also think the Cain and Abel controversy occurred on that day. Cain, the firstborn child of Adam and Eve in the Bible, killed his sibling Abel. Cain, a farmer, was furious when the Lord chose his brother Abel's contribution above his own. Abel was a shepherd. He slew Abel and was exiled from the settled land by the Lord. The Lord gave Cain a sign for protection and a promise that if he were slain, he would be vindicated 7 times because Cain was afraid that anybody might kill him while he was in exile. The Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest and most comprehensive written legal systems, was established by the Babylonian king Hammurabi, who ruled from 1792 to 1750 BC. The number 13 was not mentioned in any of King Hammurabi's regulations. Along the Euphrates River, Hammurabi developed the city-state of Babylon to encompass all of southern Mesopotamia. The 282 rules that make up the Hammurabi Code of Laws established norms for business dealings and defined fines and penalties to satisfy justice demands. A large finger-shaped black stone stele pillar with Hammurabi's code inscribed was plundered by invaders and only recently found in 1901. Old Roman witches were 12 and plus 1 the devil, which makes it 13. In modern cultures, allegations of witchcraft can be used to express or quell societal tensions. But in pre-modern Western societies, when irrational fear and persecuting mentality coexisted, they had other effects that gave rise to the witch hunts. Beginning in the 11th century, perceptions regarding witchcraft and sorcery changed, significantly altering how Westerners perceived witches and associated them with the devil. By the 14th century, charges of diabolism had been added to the standard accusations of witches. Maleficium, due to dread of heresy and Satanism. Patterns are a clear cognitive component of this belief system. When we notice patterns or sequences that commonly occur, it makes it much easier for our brains to associate different things with one another. It is in our nature to employ these associations in our daily lives since symbols have played an important role in the evolution of humanity, and it is strengthened when we interact with others who share our beliefs and perceptions. They aren't inherently misinformed, but making connections where they shouldn't. The belief in the superstition may be influenced by particular incidents that happened. As an illustration, the Apollo 13 space mission was designed to touch down on the moon. The mission was terminated by an explosion on April 13, 1970, and they were forced to return to Earth. Because of the mission number, there might have been some people who watched this mission with the preconceived notion that it would fail. A sad incident that happened specifically in England. On Friday the 13th, an adolescent in his 13th year was struck by lightning. According to reports, he was hit around 1313. Thankfully, he was able to fully recover. People feel there is no reason to think that the number 13 is unlucky because things like this happen. They consequently avoid it at all costs and develop a fear of it. 13 is just a number though. These things probably would have happened nonetheless. Just a coincidence. The media is a major factor that has influenced the 13th belief. The media takes advantage of those channels. For instance, take Jason, the killer protagonist from the Friday the 13th film series. They have capitalized on fear by turning it into over 10 films and millions of dollars. While individuals may hold this superstition, some groups hold similar beliefs that have a greater influence on society. There are certain hospitals, airports, and hotels without 13th floors. A higher power must also think that the number 13 brings ill luck for a hospital to not have a 13th floor, which would support my belief even more. It is simply a superstition to think that the number 13 is unlucky or bad luck. Confirmation bias helps superstitions flourish. It's challenging to alter your mind after you've formed a conviction and are committed to a concept. Even more challenging is that we instinctively seek information and experiences that confirm our belief rather than those that contradict them. Days when unpleasant events occur are just unfortunate periods, but if something were to occur on the 13th day, it would be due to the number 13. Strong believers would probably assert that the negative event would not have occurred at all if it weren't for the association with 13. So that is all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do hit the bell icon on your way out. See you all next time. Take care and stay safe.